Hello and welcome to Wingin It, and welcome back to another preview video where we take a look at the Wingspan Asia expansion, which is coming to the digital game very soon. Now, I've already done one video taking a preview look at all of the new features in the new expansion. So we took a look at the new birds, the new duet game mode, the new music, the new portraits and backgrounds, and new tutorial mode. I then also played a game against the AI in the duet mode to show off as many of those new features as I could. In this video, however, I'm going to be taking a bit more of a deep dive at some of the exciting new birds that I'm most looking forward to playing with in Asia. So if you are new to the Asia expansion or you need a bit of a refresher on some of the most exciting bird powers in the game, this is the video for you, so stick around and see some of these new birds in action. So let's dive in here and take a look at the first bird on my list, probably one of the ones that I'm most excited to play with in the Asia expansion, and that is going to be this Baya Weaver. So this is a ground power. When activated, tuck up to 3 cards from your hand behind this bird, and if you tuck at least one, you lay an egg on this bird. So I love me a good tucking power, and this is potentially going to be one of the strongest ones in the game. I think it's a bit of a hybrid between the Mute Swan from the European expansion and something like a bush tit from the base game, where you're tucking multiple birds, but you're also gaining eggs, which, especially if you're playing on the Oceania boards, but to be honest, even in the base boards, being able to get those in a different habitat from the grasslands by looking at playing this in the wetlands, I think there are going to be so many strong combos that could be formed with this bird. Now, it's very expensive and not many points, but that normally tells you that the brown power is going to be a good one, and as I say, it certainly is here. So very strong power, very fun one. I am looking forward to setting up some very nice wetlands engines with the Baya Weaver. Next bird to look at here is going to be a teal power, and that is going to be the black-naped Oriole. So this is a very interesting teal power. At the round end, if you use all 4 actions this round, you gain a food from the supply, lay an egg on any bird, and draw a card from the deck. So this has potential to be super powerful, where you're using all the actions and then gaining additional resources at the end of the round. Now, I think even on this own, this can be a nice power, but where this is really going to shine is with some of my favorite birds from the European expansion, being Tony's Warbler, the Yellow Hammer, and the White Wagtail. Now, those are birds where you're taking all 4 actions and playing additional birds. And what do you need to play those birds? You need food, you need eggs, and you need cards. So this is a potential great synergy where if you've got both of these birds down in a game, you're going to be doing all the 4 actions anyway, and then getting the bonus resources and using those to play birds straight away. So really nice synergy, and definitely worth looking out for this one. Honorable mention here goes to the Grey Wagtail, which is a very similar power. In this case, you're gaining 2 food from the supplies. So again, I think on its own, not quite as good as the Oriole that we just looked at, where you're only gaining food, you're not quite getting the mix of resources that you might look for. But as I say, if you're going with one of those other teal powers where you're going to be playing more birds, you can potentially gain food, exactly the food you need. And if you're playing with Oceania, you can gain nectar here and then spend it right away, which is a very nice combo. This also does combo well with some of the other teal powers, which we'll take a look at later in this video, where you could potentially gain food and then cash it right away. So many new combos opened up with some of these new powers. And as I say, these 2 birds, the Oriole and the Wagtail, are great examples of that. The next exciting new bird to take a look at is going to be a predator power, and it's the Eurasian Eagle-Owl. So this is a very fun push your luck style. When activated, up to 3 times you draw a card from the deck. And you can choose to stop at any time, but when you do, if the bird's total wingspan is less than 110 centimeters, you tuck all of the birds behind this bird. And that could be really strong. You're potentially scoring up to 3 points each time you use this power. So very flexible. As I say, this kind of push your luck dynamic we've not really seen in any wingspan birds up to this point. So this is super refreshing, and yeah, you're going to have some dynamic decisions to make, not even just during the game or during your turn, but during an activation of a single bird. So I'm sure there's going to be some big point total scored with this bird. As I say, if you're potentially scoring up to 3 points each time, there are very few birds that can do that in the game. So definitely one to look out for. There's a few others that are similar to this bird that have the same power, but I think for me, the Eagle-Owl is going to be the one to really look out for here. Next up, we're going to take a look at another slightly different push your luck style Predator's power, and it's going to be the Forest Owlet here. So this is when activated, you choose any 2 dice and roll them up to 3 times. And each time if you roll at least 1 worm or 1 rodent, you cache it here. And if not, you have to stop and return all food that you've cached on this turn. So again, we're sort of having this dynamic decision making during the activation of a bird where, again, up to 3 times, you could potentially be gaining 3 points here, 3 cached food. But if you're not feeling that risky, or if you just want to save the success that you've had, you can stop at any time after 1 roll, after 2 rolls, depending on your success rate. Because if you roll twice and you're successful, but you go again and miss, you're going to lose those food that you could have cached. So as I say, super interesting, super powerful. Again, as with the Eagle-Owl, there are a few other powers that have a very similar twist. Maybe you're rolling a different number of times, or you're looking for slightly different food, or you're choosing different numbers of dice. They're all slightly different, but I think, again, for me, the Forest Owlet is going to be the standout here. This is going to be such a strong one, and I'm going to expect to see so many strong, big scores made with this bird. The next bird we're going to take a look at on this list is going to be our first white power bird on Asia, and that is going to be Great Indian Bustard. So this is a bonus card scoring bird. This is when played, you score 1 of your bonus cards now by caching seeds from the supply on this bird for each point, and then you also score it at the game end. So if you've got a strong bonus card, you could be potentially scoring it twice during the game, and that, again, it's just going to make for so many strong combos, so many powerful activations with this Indian Bustard. Think of those games where you have an 8-point ecologist or a 10-point omnivore expert or even a 15-point behaviorist. You play this bird and you're going to double that score instantly from that bonus card. So this is going to be super, super strong. This is going to be a really, really powerful bird. Definitely worth keeping your eye out for this. And as I say, if you've got a good bonus card already, it's definitely worth picking this up and playing it, because you're going to get a big score. Another exciting bird to be looking out for here in Wingspan Asia expansion is the Oriental Bay-Owl. Now, this is a teal power, and at the round end, you activate the when activated brown powers of all of your other predator birds. So this has potentially great synergy if you're going for lots of predator birds. Maybe you've got the Rodentologist or the Falconer bonus card. Maybe you played the Griffin Vulture or the Carrion Crow from the European expansion. You can, as I say, get some great synergies here where, you know, if you've got 5 predator powers down, you're activating all of those powers. And if there are some of those other Asia predators that we've already looked at in this video, you could just be getting massive, massive points at the end of each round. So definitely worth keeping your eye on this one. Definitely worth paying attention to the synergies that you can get here. As I say, some real potent combos that could potentially be scored here. So look out for the Oriental Bay-Owl when you're playing Wingspan Asia. Next bird to take a look at here is another teal power, and it's a really, really exciting one in the Philippine Eagle. So again, this is a round end power, but this one, you're rolling all 5 dice, and you may re-roll any number of those dice up to 2 times. And when you stop, if at least 3 rats are showing, you draw 2 bonus cards and keep 1. So it's a bit of a complicated power. I think it's one you kind of have to play and use to get a feel for. But the potential upside here is just huge. I mean, if you're drawing bonus cards at the end of each round, that's just going to potentially score massive, massive points. And it's already quite a nice bird in its own right. You know, 6 points for the 2 rats. I think you just need this to hit once, and you're already having a great time. And anything beyond that is a bonus. So again, as with some of these other birds, I can see massive potential here and, you know, some really big scores if this bird is going to work right. So yeah, definitely, if you see this bird come up, pick it up and play it and just experience it and see what it's going to do for you. This is a super, super fun one to play with. Keep your eyes peeled for the Philippine Eagle. And last but by no means least on our list of birds to look out for in Wingspan Asia expansion is going to be the Lanka Blue-Magpie. So yeah, again, another teal power. There's lots of very, very nice teal powers here. This one at round end, you may cache 1 food from your supply on each of your other birds. So kind of goes without saying, but if you've got extra food and you've got a lot of birds down, you are going to get a lot of points with this bird. And it's already 9 points on its own. So it's already going to be better than so many other birds you could be playing. Even if you're not going to use this power, even if you're just playing it for the points, this is a great bird to play. But if you've got extra food, I say being able to cache this, I can just see so many strong forests which gained a bunch of food. And then you're caching 10, 11, 12 food at the end of the round. So many points here, potentially, for the Sri Lanka Blue-Magpie. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for this one. Definitely, I think, pick it up and play it if you see it come up in a game. You could be scoring a lot of points here. So there we go. Those are my top birds to look out for in the upcoming Wingspan Asia expansion. Now, if you want to see some of the new Asia birds on display, do go and check out my other video where I take a look at all of the new features in Wingspan Asia and jump into a game of duet mode against the AI. I'm also going to be streaming, so as this video goes live at the launch of Wingspan Asia, I'm going to be streaming some games over on Twitch, and I'm going to be trying to play as many of these exciting new birds as I can. So go and check the pinned comment down in the description for a link to my Twitch channel where I'm going to be streaming. I'll also be getting as many Asia videos on this channel as I can. So if you're excited for the Asia expansion and you want to see some gameplay and some strategy videos featuring these new birds and this new expansion, do make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're following along. I look forward to seeing you in another video very, very soon.